Hi, I'm Paul, the marketing manager. I just want to say thank you. We've now reached 100 subscribers on YouTube. And in 2020, we're looking forward to doing more content and hopefully more people subscribe over the next year. Thanks.
Hey guys, we've got the Fujitsu H980 Workstation Laptop. So this is an alternative to the 17-inch version of the Dell 77 series, the HP ZBook 17 series, and the Lenovo's P series. But much less well known than those. And interesting fact, Fujitsu's PC business is owned by Lenovo indirectly through a joint venture. What we'll do is we'll take a look outside at the general build, and I think immediately on the first side it's quite a reassuring build. And I think on the left you've got USB ports, VGA, Ethernet, and lock slot, as well as audio port, and nothing at the back. So the other ports, so two Thunderbolt and display port, so that's quite nice for the display out, and USB as well, SD card. So it's quite rich connectivity, and nothing on the front, no DVD drive, but I suppose we moved away from that. And on the base cover, it's quite easily serviceable as well. Brushed metal finish, it looks quite professional, same for the lid. But the lid is a little bit more understated, so when you have it working, it looks like you're doing work. Okay, on the inside, probably the first thing you'll notice is a Made in Germany logo. So the things you feel and touch is what we would probably call average or slightly above average. So take, for instance, display. It's perfectly good Full HD IPS panel, 17-inch, but it's not as stunning as, let's say, P73 on the ThinkPad. That one has a 4K option for the HDR Dolby Vision screen. That's just gorgeous. And the speaker is probably what we call functional as well. It's not as good as the ZBook 17 series, which has a subwoofer, so this one lacks some of the bass. The keypad, it works. It doesn't give you as much reassurance when you type on it as, let's say, maybe ThinkPad or the Dell. So quite quickly you get a sense there's massive competition in this category, and also there's no webcam privacy cover. People are over time getting closer to what they want. It used to be the business line, it used to be more boring, and now you're actually seeing more exciting options, things like Dolby Vision screen, things like subwoofers, etc., making their way onto the workstation line. So that's always good to see. Hopefully with the next generation it will get better. So other comments is you can get this with the track point on the keyboard, but there's no backlit key option, which, if you consider this is a premium workstation laptop, it's a little bit odd. Well, the trackpad is okay, responsive, maybe not as responsive as some of the class-leading options, and also the key, they feel quite heavy, if that makes sense, and really clicky in the noise. So above average, probably in the range of things you have, but it's just, it's not exceptional by any standard. Let's have a quick chat about the performance hardware. So on this one we've got NVIDIA Quadro P5200, so the flagship graphic option available on this, so 16 gig of video RAM, so that's plenty for many of the workload. And 4 memory slots. This one is 4x16, so that's plenty. If you opt for the Intel Xeon option, you can load it with ECC memory and 6-core processor, so that's quite high turbo boost of 4.3 GHz, and base clock of probably 2.6. I think if you do multi-core workload, you can probably expect around 3 GHz all-core sustained workload performance. But when you're working on single-threaded stuff, it's generally you see higher frequency. Overall, the cooling is actually quite good, and you will hear the fan ramp up fairly quickly, but it keeps the temperature fairly well managed. On some of the more recent other workstations, you see the temperature creeping up fairly quickly on, for instance, the Dell and the Lenovo options especially. But I think this Fujitsu, because it's quite bulky and do heat pipes, it's coping fairly well with higher temperature. And on the inside you will have M2 slot and 2 of the hard drive slots. For the hard drive slots you will possibly need a caddy, so that's something to think about. On the base of the laptop, when we look at it later, there is going to be accessible panel, so through that the heatsink can be changed, and the RAM, 2 of the RAM slots out of 4 can be accessed there. So we have a fairly standard BIOS, just in case you're not aware of what the Fujitsu BIOS might look like. Quite interesting bit is in this one you can disable the graphics switching. So if you disable this option, then it will just run on the Quadro graphics. So for some apps, it might be better to have that. So that's quite reassuring to have that option. And here you will have the fan control. So if you want to work on really quiet workload, that's fine. I think leaving it on the normal give you a little bit more performance. I think these are fairly widespread features across the board. In summary, it's a fairly decent system. If you just want to get work done, it's a perfectly robust system, quite reliable, and definitely alternative to the Dell, HP, and Lenovo if you just look at it from a functional perspective. If you're buying it with your own money rather than, let's say, a company purchase, then perhaps you may want to take a look at, for instance, either the ThinkPad or the more HP direction. They give you a little bit more things like Dolby Vision, screen, multi-touch screen, better speakers. But if you're willing to get through that, if you are willing to ignore that, for instance, if you have a good external screen anyway, decent speakers, then this is a perfectly functional laptop, and it just really helps you to get the work done, minimal distraction. So I think it's quite good to see a workstation laptop from somebody other than the main vendors. And I think over time you'll also see the MSI trying to fill this market with some of their workstation laptop. But I think those are more designed using gaming chassis at this stage. So whereas the Fujitsu definitely feels as if it's built like a workstation. So I mean, over time you will see marks. So that's something, on the base you will see those marks over time. So I mean, probably advisable to use it in a case anyway. But I think it's fairly well built. Most of the components could be easy service, and 3-year standard warranty in most regions, and you can upgrade all the way to 5. It's definitely a good piece of kit, and I think most of the time you see this, it will be in larger companies. I think for consumers to buy this directly probably remains more a niche option, but we just thought you might find this interesting. Anyway, if there's any question, give us a shout and we'll quickly take a look at it. Thanks, have a good day.